Hey, what's going on everybody? Alex here with Freedom Mowers. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. And today we're going to be talking about part 2 of this 2004 DYT4000. If you guys do like this kind of content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe below and that drop down bell notification. That way you guys know whenever I drop a video. Most of the stuff I do is just going to be fixing up mowers, small engine stuff, curb finds, buy, sell, flip, and have some fun. So let's jump right into it. I'll show you guys where I'm at here. Let's see, on the last one we were able to get the machine up and running. This one has the 18.5 Intech single cylinder on it, and the belt should be coming in today for the hydrostatic drive on this. We did get it up and running on another carburetor that I had last time, but it wasn't running very well. I think it just had an issue with the jet, and this one is kind of having the same problem. I'm gonna try to probably clean the carburetor again on it, and if that doesn't fix it, then I'll probably just go ahead and order one. There was also a air leak on the intake tube that I fixed off camera the other day. I just made my own gasket for it, and seems like it's running a little bit better, a little bit smoother. But today, to start out with, what I want to do is, since this has a rear tank, the gas is pretty nasty in it, I would like to be able to get the tank off from here. That way I can get better access to cleaning it, and also we can take a better look at the transaxle, get that cleaned up, and get the arm on it that engages and disengages freed up a little bit, because that's sticking pretty bad on there. And I'm also going to be taking the deck off from here. That way we can get a better look at that and better access to changing out the drive belt on it. The other day I did get started on removing the back half, or the back shell basically, of the machine. And to do that, you can go one of two ways. There is a I guess a carriage style bolt that is right underneath of the foot pad on each side, or there's another bolt, if I can show you guys, there's another bolt that's right here on the frame rail. And on this particular mower, the ones underneath the foot pad were super rusty, and I didn't want to break them off, so I was able to get the two, one on each side, off. And then underneath of the seat, you guys can see we had a cold night last night, so there's still ice on the machine here. And then there's just two bolts to take that off. Then you will need to remove the handle for the transmission, and then take the gas cap off. I went ahead and took this off the other day, but I just kind of set it back on here so I could show you guys. So this, now the back shell will slide right off, and we'll have access to the tank in the rear end. And then on the deck here, these are pretty, looks like this one's pretty simple. You have the pin right here. We have the pin for, I guess, the tensioner. There's one for the rear arm, and then we just have the two front arms, and that should be it. And they're just all cotter pins. Take those out, and we should just be able to slide this deck right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the back shell off. I'll show you guys what we're working with, and then we'll get that deck off from there. Alright, so the back shell is off, and that thing is pretty darn heavy, not gonna lie. So you guys can see the cakeage here on the gas tank. Oh, and I did clean this up the other day a bit. I gave it a good wash, but you guys can see where I cleaned up the tank, where I had access to it. And I believe to take it the rest of the way off, we just have this bolt right here and another one right here. It's just a strap that runs across the top. So we got that, and I did go ahead and put some automatic transmission fluid in this tire. This is the one that wasn't holding air, and it's had air in it for a couple days and seems to be holding pretty good now. So let's see, I will go ahead and get those cotter pins out of the deck, and we'll get that off from there as well. Okay, well, I've got the deck off from here, and this really is just a LT1000 deck, just with the anti-scalp wheels all around. And I did notice after I took this off that we're missing the other pulley that's supposed to be on here, but I just went and took a look, and I have another deck that came with these mowers, and the other one I believe is complete other than the tensioner spring, and I think that's it. So I may end up just swapping over this cable, which is a little bit different, because with the electric PTO you should always have tension on the belt, and then when you engage it, it just engages the clutch on the electric PTO. So this is a little different than your standard LT1000 manual engage handles, so that will have to be swapped over. I think other than that though, the other one's in much better shape. It has the grass chute, and this one, if you guys remember, is totally torn up on the edge, and this one was missing a blade. So between the two, I'll make one good deck for it, and then just have the gas tank to take off. So I'll go ahead and figure out what size that is, and I'll show you guys taking this tank off. It looks like they have some kind of like a worm clamp on this line. Holy, this thing is so nasty. And there's the reason why the why this push rod was not working right. Somebody must have yanked this thing so hard that it bent this spring totally out. I know that arm was still really hard to move, so I'm gonna have to try to get that freed up a little bit too. All right, well, if you guys had smell-o-vision, then you would know that this gas is bad in here. I'm trying not to get it everywhere. It's already starting to drip, but I think what I'm gonna do is try to get the tank tipped up on its edge, and I'm just gonna clip the fuel line here because I'd like to run a new line through it anyways, and that way I can get to the nipple that's on the bottom here and not damage that. So I'll just go ahead and cut that line, and we'll get this tank off from here. There's still quite a bit of fuel in here, and it smells rancid. But now we've got access, direct access here to the transaxle, and you guys can see just so much stuff in here. It's so caked. I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just start getting at least some of the crud out of here. And I think as far as the belt goes, I'll show you guys. So we just have to go on top, obviously, of the hydrostatic pulley, and then down one side of the belt's gonna go through this keeper, and then on top of the crankshaft pulley, and then the other side's gonna come around, and I'll have to look at the diagram, but we've just got these two pulleys, and The bearings sound pretty noisy on those, to be honest. But I think that the electric PTO is going to have to drop down. Yeah, I think the PTO is going to have to drop down for us to be able to get to the upper portion of this pulley. So I'll see if I can't get the PTO to drop down, and then we should just be able to throw the belt on. Man, you guys think this mower's been through some work? I mean, 671 hours on this, and this machine was beat down and left. So I'm gonna keep chugging away at it here. I'm gonna try to get some of that crud cleaned off the transaxle, and I'm gonna see if I can't get the bolt broken loose to drop down the PTO. Alright, well here's where we're at. Had to get the leaf blower out here to clean up the pad. There was so much dirt and debris down here on this transaxle. I mean, it's still filthy, but I got most of it and really tried to get into these heat fins on here. That way this can still cool. It does say that this is a Tecumseh transaxle. Let's see here. And I was looking on the front, and to get the front part of the drive belt on, what I decided, instead of trying to pull the PTO off, is there is a, if I can show you guys, there is the locking arm that holds the PTO in place, and I've gone ahead and loosened these two bolts up. I'm going to take them all the way out when the belt comes in, and that will be able to move out of the way. And then the other part was the steering arm, and just took the one bolt out. So now the steering arm will be able to move up forward, and I can take out the locking arm for the PTO, and I should just be able to get the belt to slide right over, and then I'll just tighten that back down, and we'll get the belt routed and at least get it fired up and make sure that the transaxle works, and then we will move on to probably the deck and fuel tank, routing new fuel line, which should be pretty easy on this. We just have that, you know, the one line going right up here, just right through the frame, and comes up underneath the dash. We'll get a new fuel line, new fuel filter. I'm gonna have to put a fuel pump on order, and we'll see about the carburetor, and then we're gonna need a deck belt. I think that should be it for parts, besides a battery. But as soon as the belt comes in, we'll get started on that. All right, well, things got a little bit hectic today, and I did get the belt in and got that installed, and then I had to go run a couple errands. But I'll show you guys, it was pretty much went as planned as far as what I had done earlier, disconnecting the steering linkage and taking out the locking pin on the electric PTO. The only other thing I forgot was just taking the wire harness loose on the electric PTO, and then I was just able to slide the belt up. And underneath of the pan here, they actually have the diagram of how the belt runs, and I'll show you guys. Everything looks to be on here and in order. So just runs through that guide, straight back to it. So next step, I also got the gas tank all cleaned up, which was a mess, if you guys remember how that looked before. And I did buff, I got the buffer out and kind of buffed on the hood and on the shell here, and came out looking a lot better than it had originally. So where are we at here? I guess I'm gonna go ahead and I'll get the wheel back on there, and I might just temporarily throw the back pan on this, and then we will jump start it and see if the transaxle is going to work. And if everything works as planned, then our next step is going to be working on the deck. Alright guys, well, I had to just throw the pan back on here, but also the gas tank, and there was some grounding wires that needed to go back that are connected to the tank strap. And yeah, put a little splash of gas in there, and I think we should be good. We'll give it a try here. I don't really have anywhere good to sit. I think I'm just gonna have to try to run it with the choke and see if we can get it to move. Sweet. Yeah, obviously some carb issues, and I can hear a little bit of noise from those tensioner pulleys on the drive belt, but clearly the transaxle is good. I'll fire it up one more time and I'll move it around a little bit more, but that's great news. So we're making some good headway on this machine. Alright, well, clearly I've got some more carb work to do, and I'm going to try to clean this carb. Get you guys. I'm going to try to clean this carb one more time, and if I get no success on it, then I'll just order a new carb. Going to do a valve adjustment on this, and then onto the mower deck as well. But you guys can see it's starting to clean up fairly well. I'm gonna double check everything on the drive belt and make sure we've got no burning or anything like that. Belt looks good. Yeah, so that's awesome. Well, I was trying to get out here and get on this today, at least to see if this is gonna move, and it does, so that's awesome. We'll get started back on this tomorrow when I can get some time, and should be able to go ahead and start on the mower deck. I'll show you guys side by side the one that came off the LT1000 and the one that I've got here for the DYT4000. And between the two decks, we definitely have a good one. I'll just figure out which route I want to go, which is easiest way and which one's gonna work best. So yeah, I'll jump to it and start you guys back out tomorrow. All right guys, well, it's the next day, and I've been kind of hard at it with this mower, and I've had some other stuff going on that I needed to take care of, so I've been kind of having to peck away at this thing a little bit at a time. But I wanted to show you guys where we're at here. I got the other mower deck out and gave it a little bit of a wash. It was pretty caked in oil and grass and everything else. I think this is just going to be the deck that we use. Much better shape, and the only thing that I need to swap over is that spring setup that is on the other one, and other than that, everything looks about the same. The only thing this doesn't have is those the 4 anti-scalp wheels, and then we just need to take the tensioner spring for the belt. But the spindles on this one are good. They're pretty quiet and spin freely. And this pulley was good. This one's a little noisy. But this one by far is the best of the two and the easiest to get swapped over and get this going. So in the meantime, while I had the camera off, I did do a valve adjustment on this, and I'm probably not going to show it in the video, but I will make a separate video on doing a valve adjustment. I know there's a ton of them on YouTube, but I did the valve adjustment on this, and I also figured out what was going on with the carburetor and got it running really well. I'll show you guys. Here is our old carb, and on this is where the fuel pickup is. And what was going on, this one I think still has some blockage in the carburetor, but on the other one I believe that one was cleared out. And what was going on is on the anti-backfire solenoid, because I normally clip these off, I didn't clip it down far enough, and if you can see where the threads are, this one's pretty close as well. It was right in line on the inside of the tube, and it was blocking the jet from picking up enough fuel, so it was kind of fuel starving. Other than that, it's running really good right now, and I took it for a test drive around the yard, but you guys are gonna have to wait on that, because this video I've already kind of checked, and I think we're going to be close to about the 30-minute mark, and there's a lot of little things that I need to get tidied up, which I want to do on the third part, which is routing the fuel line. We'll get the deck belt and just other miscellaneous stuff, probably painting or touching up some paint on that deck, getting everything finalized on this, and then we should be good. And I need to put the fuel pump on order. But overall, this is turning out better than I had expected, especially after initially starting out on it. So we got a good deck, good running motor. We know the trans works now. Fuel tank's clean. It's just ready for a new fuel line, the fuel pump, and then really just cosmetic cleanup, stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys checking it out, and hopefully you guys are excited for part 3. I think this is going to be a fun little adventure and tractor when it's all finished up. If you guys are new here and you do like this content, like I said in the beginning, think about subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate everybody that's been along for the ride, and the comments you guys give me and the love. So I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great week. I'll catch y'all in the next video.